Do you pay tax? Do you know what is expected of you as a Nigerian as regards the tax law? With the new tax reform, do you think it's going to make our lives as Nigerians better, or are you of the school of thought that it's going to complicate things? This and many more we are going to be addressing in this episode. My name is Blessing Suberu, and with me is Rachel Bala.
Thank you very much for having me, Blessing.
You're welcome. Recently, there's a new party now that is looking like the main deal in town, the ADC. One strong political heavyweight recently decamped to ADC. And guess who it is? Rabiu Kwankwaso. And he is a major player. We all know about his exploits in Kanu and all of that. So looking at it, do you know this is a very strong opposition now for APC? Yes. They have to be up and about.
To me, I'm actually happy that at least for the first time, a very strong, I'll call it strong because we all saw that our big guy, our big daddy is there in person of Atiku, our strategic person in person of Obi, and now Kwankwaso, the people's man. So these people coming together is like, you should know that it's going to be, this time around, we will not just say, okay, it's these people. We will say, let the fight begin. Bringing this trend on a very sad note, because I feel a cry for one is a cry for all. To our people of Plateau State. Like, I feel so remote. Like, I don't know. Look at how people are being killed. These people are not chickens. These people, even animal. When you get used to your dog, there are some instances that if you want to even kill it, like you have this sympathy for the person. Talk more of human beings, like 40 people. This like they are living beings, and I'm just so like it's just so disheartening.
We're looking at it, we can't just help but ask, what is our government doing about it? This has prolonged for so long.
Like for years.
So long. Every time either this community is being affected, and then seemingly, what's the thing? We'll talk about it. It seemingly trends for days. People post on their socials, and it now looks like the government really, like, can this not end? When is it going to end? The people are crying. When is insecurity going to end? And particularly for just people, when is this going to end?
Do you know, I saw this picture of this mother carrying her child, and it was so heartbreaking because she was like, no, he's my son. He will, like, he's going to hear me. Like, that's
the pain of a mother.
I'm telling you. Like, she know how she labored for that guy. She know how she suffered for that guy, and I don't know, I'm just so pained.
So we pray that God would comfort every family that lost anybody in here, and it is well. Today we are going to talk tax. In June of 2025, President Bola Ahmed Asiwaju signed into law the new tax reform. Since then, there have been a lot of discussion, questions, and even confusion. There have been lots of misconceptions in the minds of Nigerians. To take this conversation further and bring a form of clarity, we have with us in the studio an expert and an excellent administrator, the executive chairperson of Gombe State Internal Revenue Service, person of Hajia, Aisha Damu. It's good to have you in our midst, ma'am.
Thank you very
much. You're welcome. So, first off, let's start with the basics. What's the tax reform about? How is it different from the old tax law we have, and what does it mean to the average Nigerian?
Okay. So thank you for having me. As earlier mentioned, my name is Aisha Damu. I'm the executive chairman, Gombe Internal Revenue Service. So the tax reform is targeted towards improving the livelihood of Nigerians. So it is more people oriented. What we mean by that is the taxes exempt people that are of lower income totally, so as to stimulate growth in the economy. So that is the basis of this tax reform. And if you notice, previously we have a lot of multiplication of taxes, and then the tax process is too cumbersome. So the reform is also targeted towards efficiency in the collection of taxes, and then simplifying the whole process of collecting your taxes through the process of harmonizing tax collection. When we talk about harmonization, we're talking about taxes from, say, local government and state government to be collected through a single window by either the state government or the local government, or through a single portal, and then some of the taxes also at the federal level to be collected by the NRS.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I think this, in a way, you've answered one of the questions in the minds of Nigerians, that this tax, the new tax reform, is it going to make our life difficult? Because a lot of persons are wondering, the system, maybe because we don't have an in-depth understanding of it yet, but Nigerians are asking, what do we expect from this tax reform? For people who haven't been paying tax, and now there is a demand to start paying tax, what are we expecting from the state government or from the federal government?
What we're expecting right now, as earlier mentioned, is a relief, especially to low-income earners and then small businesses. Previously, almost everyone pays tax. Even if your salary is, say, 15,000, you pay a portion of that as taxes to the state government or to FCTIRS. But as at now, due to the reform, the band has been increased to 800,000, plus other reliefs you also get. So it means that if you have an income that is, say, less than 71,000 in a year, in a month, you will not be paying taxes totally. So what this means to an average Nigerian is you have more money to spend on your own livelihood, as well as more money to save and engage in other businesses. Also, when we look at companies, because you know taxes are statutory payments that you make to the government because of the income you receive, either you as an individual or a company that earns profit. So as an individual, the band has been increased to remove those that have very low income. For a company, the band has also been increased, because as it is now, due to the reform, if your turnover, your revenue is not up to 100 million in a year, you do not pay taxes. So you're also able to demand some relief from the federal government when you engage in certain activities which is expected to boost your business and contribute to the development of the country, such as if you invest in things like innovation and research and other things.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, for those that don't understand English, to actually get and understand what we are talking about. So, Aja, assalamu alaikum. Mun gode da zuwanki zuwa studio mu yau. Tun dama akwai questions da yake minds din mutanen Nigeria, da especially mutanen da suke businesses like masu sana'a, kaman suna cewa su ma tun da shike yanzu ba su san cikakken maganan na tax din ba, kamar yanzu da kika mana explanation, kin ga ma su ma da we need to understand it.
Da farko ina marabta masu sauraron mu. Wannan sabon tsari na haraji da shugaban kasa yayi an yi shi ne domin a kawo tsare-tsare, gyare-gyare a cikin kundin haraji na kasar nan. Ba a taba yin irin wannan tsari ba. Wannan tsarin kuma dalilin da yasa aka yi is people driven, is sabida people oriented, sabida a taimaka wa mutane, sabida kuncin rayuwa, a taimaka wa mutane, a sauwaka musu wahalar da suke yi gurin biyan haraji kuma su ƙara samun kuɗin shiga. Na biyu kuma is growth focus, wato ana son kamar businesses su samu sauki so that su samu ci gaba a kasuwancinsu, saboda shi economy mu na Nigeria zai bunƙasa. To shi ne dalilin da yasa aka yi wannan harajin. Ba nufin shugaban ƙasa ba ne wai a ƙara kuɗin haraji, a'a. Illa iyaka abin da aka yi ma an kawo sauƙi ne. Da kowa na iya biyan haraji, amma yanzu shugaban ƙasa sai ya ce idan kuɗin da yake shigo maka bai kai 800 ba, har da ma ɗan ƙari, to ba za ka biya haraji ba. Kuma sai aka rage nawa ma za ka biya a harajin. To wannan abin da aka yi an yi shi ne domin a samu sauƙi, saboda kuɗaɗen da suke shiga maka kai amfani da shi kai wasu abubuwan more rayuwa. kamfanin nuka ma sai aka kawo musu sauki, aka ce idan kuɗin da ke shiga muku bai kai miliyan 100 ba to ba za ka biya haraji ba, saboda kamfani ya samu shi ma ya ɗauki wannan kuɗin ya ƙara mai da shi cikin business ɗinsa, business ɗin ta bunƙasa, domin idan business ɗin ta bunƙasa ai shine za ka iya biyan haraji da shi. To shine dai kundin dalilin da yasa aka yi canjin tsare-tsaren haraji na Najeriya. Bayan wannan kuma ana so karɓan haraji yayi sauƙi, a samu tsari da tsafta a cikin karɓan haraji. Tsari da tsafta, ba a so yau wannan ya zo ya ce ka biya wannan harajin, gobe wannan ya zo ka biya wannan haraji, ko a dinga tara motoci akan hanya ana cewa su biya haraji. To sai aka mai da harajin ma gaba ɗaya aka mai da shi ƙasa da guda 10. Dan da idan aka zo karɓan haraji a gurinki za ki ga list ɗin harajin ya fi guda 30. To amma yanzu kwata-kwata harajin da ake karɓa bai kai guda 10 ba.
To akwai kaman wanda suna da businesses haka, kin san not all of them sun iya calculation, domin yanzu an ce wai akwai method wanda za a iya calculation din so that mutum din ya biya tax. To ma mutanen nan ya za mu yi da su?
Shi karban haraji abu ne mai sauki. Na ɗaya zan ba su shawara, in manyan kamfaninnika ne su nemi accountant su musu, sabida akwai a bit of wasu abubuwa da is a bit technical da sai accountant ne za su iya musu. Amma in ƙananan kamfaninnika ne su zo website ɗinmu na Gombe Internal Revenue Service, www.irs.gm.gov.ng. So za su ga muna da calculator da kana sa nawa ne kuɗin da kake samu zai calculate maka haraji. Haka ma at the federal level idan ka sa za ka gani.
Wow, to mun gode, because wannan explanation ɗinki yanzu ya kawo sauki. So kaman masu ma'aikata su fa ya abun zai affecting ɗinsu?
Da ma'aikata, wato shi abin da ake kira haraji akwai ya kasu kashi-kashi. So in ke ɗauko maganar ma'aikata ana maganar personal income tax ko? To personal income tax kuma shi ma ya rabu kashi biyu. Yanzu a ce maybe ke ma'aikace wannan kamfanin ne, to akwai wani kuma shi baya aiki, shi business yake, amma ai shi ba yana samun kuɗin shiga. So shi ma zai biya haraji akan kuɗaɗen da suke shiga mishi. So ma'aikata, haƙƙin kamfanin da suke ma aiki ne ka cire ka san harajin shi, ka aika ma Internal Revenue Service inda ya dace. In a Gombe kake ka aika ma State Internal Revenue Service, kuma doka ta ce you have to send it kafin 10 na watan da ya gabata. In ba haka ba za a yi fining ɗinka.
Okay. To I think wannan ma has already, tambayan nan da na miki has already in ce wai answer kaman part of tambayan da zan miki yanzu na biyu, shine me steps wanda mutane za su ɗauka zuwa biyan haraji din.
Steps, kai a ma'aikaci ba kai zaka biya harajinka ba, employer inka ne wanda ya ɗauke ka aiki shi zai biya harajinka. So kafin ya biya ka kudadenka, salary ɗinka, ya kamata zai cire haraji sai ya remitting. Kai kuma kama a ce ɗan kasuwa, kai ya kamata zaka biya harajinka, to zaka iya zuwa website ɗinmu, kana zaune a gida da yamma ko kana office ɗinka, nan dai still www.irs.gm.gov.ng, within 2 minutes zaka biya harajinka. Ko kuma in kana ganin kana da issue zaka iya zuwa offices ɗinmu sai ka biya harajinka.
For our audience that don't understand the Hausa, I think that last question will be necessary that we have it in English, because we know that we have a lot of salary earners and we have businessmen too. The steps they need to take, is it the same for salary earners? Is it the same thing that is expected of the business person too as regards filing for income tax?
Okay, now you're talking about something different because you're talking about filing. She asked the process of paying your taxes. Okay. So as an employee, when you need to pay your taxes, your employer pays the taxes. He deducts it before he pays your monthly salary, and he's expected to also pay the taxes before the 10th of the preceding month. So that's a monthly activity. But for the self-employed individual or a business, you do it at the end of the year. So you can see the difference. Because if you're a business, you don't want to be paying your profit at the end of the month. the calculation might be a bit tedious. So you wait till the end of your own financial year, which could be December or January or June, and then you file, you pay your necessary taxes. That's your income taxes, right? Then the procedure of paying the taxes is you could simply go to our website, www.irs.gm.gov.ng. The amazing thing we did there is we've digitalized the whole process.
Wow.
As an employer, you sign up, you register as an employer, then you upload all your employees, then you pay the taxes for them. And at the beginning of the year, the filing for an employer is expected to be in the month of January.
Okay.
So at the beginning of the year, all you need to do is go to your profile and just click on a button, because you've already filed, you've already been paying the taxes. What does filing of taxes means? You're just reporting all your transactions in a year. So what do you need? You need things like your financial record for those businesses, then maybe your bank statement to just guide you. For an employer, you've already done all the necessary things. So with a click of a button, you've already filed taxes for all your staff. That's how easy it is. And we are available 24/7. We are online to do that. So for the other businesses, for the, what do you call them? For the self-employed, then you can also register as either an individual or as a registered business, and then you pay whatever outstanding liability you have, and then you file your taxes there. As an individual, the deadline for filing taxes is 31st of March.
Wow.
And when you do not file as at then there is a sanction. By 1st of April, the sanction will be 50,000 naira. By the next month, the defaulting month, then you'll be sanctioned 10,000 until you pay each month. And for the companies, it's 100,000 naira. So if you do not file at the end of January, it's 100,000 naira. Then you're being fined 50,000 for the preceding months, defaulting months.
Thank you. I think this has addressed some of the misconceptions we have, because since they talked since June last year, there have been a lot of misconceptions as to, maybe because I would want you to address some of it. We have some persons who think the government will have automatic access to our accounts, or that every money, included its gifts or just anything from friends or family, that automatically is going to be deducted. And from the last response you gave, I also noticed, will a salary earner who the employer had already filed, am I still going to be expected as a person to still file, or just what my employer had done would cover up for me?
That's a very beautiful question. A lot of Nigerians don't rely on only one job. So if you know you have extra source of income, then you need to file as well. So that's very necessary. So for your second question about the direct debit on the account, etc., what you need to do as a responsible citizen is, one, you need to keep proper records of your financial activity. When you intend to start any business, then you need to follow all the necessary registration guidelines of your residence, including registering with the IRS. And also, as an individual, if you have all your records and then you file your taxes, then the IRS has no power to dip its hands into your own account. And you know, tax collection is being guided, as you mentioned. There is a law that the president signed, and it has gone through the House of Assembly. And with the tax reform, one of the most beautiful things they've done is we have a tax ombudsman office now. If you have any friction with the tax office, it's an independent agency. They mediate between the tax office and then the taxpayer. So at no point, I think, the IRS will be able to dip its hands into your account. But the fear of people is if the IRS has access to your account. But is it access to debit your account or access to information? Because we are guided by the law. So the IRS has the right to demand the banks, through maybe the courts, to provide all necessary information if you are not cooperating with the IRS. Otherwise, if you get a bill, you're supposed to respond within 30 days. If you're being asked now to pay 10 million, and we just give you our best of judgment because you've refused to come and file, we'll send you a bill. What is expected of you is just to come and say, okay, this is my accurate record, and then we reconcile. But in the event that you do not that and you're being recalcitrant, then you can take further action.
Wow. Thank you. You've actually thrown a lot of light into some of this misconception. You mentioned the law. I want you to, in clear terms, explain what it means. What's the difference between tax evasion and avoidance? Because there can be a lot of misunderstanding as to what does the law says, what's the penalty for somebody who is evading or who is just totally trying to avoid paying the tax.
One is using illegal means to avoid paying tax,
Okay.
and one is totally running away from paying tax. For instance, for the tax avoidance now, when you're preparing your books, you can be flying in first class, you and your family, or be chartering a jet, and then you put it as your business expense. So you're trying to avoid tax smartly. Because yes, the law provides that you should cover your business expenses. So, but those are not expenses really related to your business. So things like that, exploring the lacunas in the law and then avoiding the process of paying tax. Then for the other one is just totally avoiding it.
Thank you. This is really an eye-opener because, you know, as Nigerians, we always want to, there's need for clarity, so that, because, you know, there's a saying, if the use of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. So most times, and we know that now we have an understanding, when we pay our tax, the government would actually do what they ought to do. And from what you've said, I'm sure now we get it, that this reform actually ensure that there is transparency and accountability, that I can hold the government to, I can hold them to account what my money is to be used for and what to expect from paying tax. Thank you so much for sharing with us your vast knowledge and experience as a tax administrator. I am curious, this is a personal question now. As a woman, I was looking through your profile and discovered you are the first head of Gombe State Internal Revenue Service. Looking at the northern Nigeria, where the female child or the girl child, we are not exposed to a lot of educational opportunities. How were you able to achieve this? It's amazing. So I want you to share with us, how did you achieve it? How did you get to this position?
I want to credit it to God, one, but my success is attributed to my father.
Wow.
Gombe. Because he ensured everyone in my house went through the university, and he's always preached hard work. So the key to success is just hard work and integrity and the fear of God.
Thank you. Hard work, integrity, and fear of God. We'll take note of that. Yes. Thank you so much, ma. Unfortunately, that's all we can take for this episode. But we want to keep this conversation going. We would like to hear from you in the comment section. If you have any question, please drop it. We can always get to Ajia to answer our question.
Yes, and please, Ajia made mention of the website. So maybe below the video we'll put it, because it's going to help a lot of people to just do it, because you can just do these things in the comfort of your home. Like, I never knew anything about it. Yes, like I never knew anything about it, and it's going to help a lot of people out there. So thank you very much.
Thank you. See you next time.
Bye.
Stay tuned for more enlightening and educating content like this.